resolve to come back.
Yeah, they are a team who are very good at cutting their losses when they need to, as far as giving away towers, but then also punishing teams like for the smallest little things, like the couple of pickoffs they got last game, or even when they were defending a tower, like Baby Knight being a bit too far forward, they make sure they jump him, get the quick kill, and even if they don't get the kill, they're able to disengage very safely, and they do these plays at very low risk. So they're proving to be a tough team to figure out and beat. We'll see if Cloud9 have some answers in game 2. Drafts will be a little bit different with the Lone Druid banned out, but if Cloud9 want, there is an Ogre Sniper, not necessarily going to be the go-to in the first 2. You're not against a Lone Druid, but they have got the Ogre for now.
They are going to have to deal with some early pressure here. It's not Dark Seer or Spirit, because that was also banned away by Cloud9. Yapzor, as you mentioned at the beginning of the Game 1 draft, right? We know Yapzor's are Spirit. It's kind of scary. And we saw that play out in game number 1 for sure. So instead, they're going to go for the Rubik, a little bit more of an open support hero, gives you a lot of options.
Yep. We'll see if that's going to be for Yapso or for Adam as time goes on with the draft. But for now, not too much telling from Bears. Darkseer has been one of probably the more successful heroes in this DAC qualifiers and can pair up with plenty of different options. Something that does allow Forev to really be aggressive, contest the lane, something that he really likes to focus on and does very well, is playing that more aggressive style offlaner rather than kind of like the farming style. And C9 have to either address that or make up for it somewhere else on the map.
And Cloud9 just don't seem to know what to do. They're going to go for the SF here for Baby Knight. So a nice scaling mid still offers you the right kind of team fight. It does seem like if when it comes to mid lane cores, SF is probably one of the biggest open. It keeps your draft relatively open, right? You can run a push strat. You can run a lot of aggressiveness with an SF because of his team fight power, but you can also still rely on him when it comes to mid to late game.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anything, Cloud9 have been preferring this over heroes like the sniper with the Ogre lately, just because Baby Knight seems a bit more comfortable on it, and they seem to like how the SF team fight plays out for them. And it gives them a bit more like early game than a sniper. They are a team who really like to prioritize winning those early fights and taking those early objectives. Time and time again, we see it, and we'll see that once again from them here, as Bears will at least now know what the enemy mid laner they're going to be going up against is going to be. But similarly, Cloud9 can now look to protect the SF, can ban out some of the annoying mids for him, but just an Ember ban for now, something that Bears have played, and the Jug banned out by Bears.
Now, SF can't be completely well-rounded. There's got to be some weaknesses in there. So, Gods, if you see this SF and you're thinking about ways to be able to counter the Cloud9 draft, what weaknesses do you see in SF, and how do you poke at those?
His first biggest weaknesses is his level 1, but that's kind of already been made up for by the Ogre pick a bit, since Ogre likely to be camping the mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
I guess his next biggest weakness is just going to be if he gets forced into like an early BKB, so having like a big team fight or good initiation with like some magic damage burst, like the Invoker Centaur like we saw last game, that kind of a style where you can initiate on the SF, force him into that BKB build, which typically you don't necessarily want to go early on an SF. So I think for Bears, getting like a good 4-position initiator perhaps, or something that can contest the lanes, is going to be probably one of the key things as far as beating the SF.
Okay. I like that. I like any sort of heavy ganking and initiation power against an SF, just because it is dangerous to slow roll your team fight power into an SF and let him get off that ultimate. So if you can force him into that, as you said, the earlier BKB timing, as well as forcing him to use that BKB in the beginning of a fight, I think you stand much better odds against that hero. Bears are going to ban away the Juggernaut, Safe Lane Juggernaut, as well as the Chen, so stopping more the pushing power of Cloud9. Jug is kind of one of those cores that facilitates pushes, so Bears are still wary of that even after beating Cloud9 in Game 1.
Yeah, they just don't want to traverse some of these annoying pushes. And again, Cloud9 wary of the Queen of Pain will ban that out once again. It's probably one of the weaker matchups for an SF to have to play, and also here we've seen a few times from Fata going into that late game Blade Mail Octarine build. It does feel like, in general, Bears are picking up 2 good scaling core heroes, so both Fata and Firo. based on the games we've seen so far, and based on the fact that a lot of their games are going into the later stages. Their early game isn't necessarily their forte.
You know, the Vengeful Spirit was actually still out there in the pool. That was one of the 1-2 bands, right? We had it was Slordar Venge.
That's right.
Was that Bears banning it, or was it Cloud9?
That was Cloud9 banning those two.
I was about saying this time around, Bears are the ones who take away the Slordar, probably because of the first pick. But it's kind of interesting that Venge wasn't actually grabbed here. Cloud9 could still run it as some sort of safe laner if they really want to get super aggressive, and also as a support save for the SF. So I kind of feel like that'd be an okay opener. Nice synergy with minus armor and physical damage for the SF.
So now Bears get the Bounty Hunter and looking to be disruptive. So there's Yapsor's hero. We'll put the Rubik onto Adam, and this gives them that pesky early game hero that can try and bully the SF a little bit. And just give them that probably some kind of scouting potential for their big initiation, like the Darkseer Vacuum plus whatever kind of carries they're going to be running with it. Their team fight's going to be set up by this Bounty Hunter and his positioning.
Does mean Cloud9 have to worry about, because the Ogre is going to be securing the SF in the laning phase, it does make them kind of worry about the safe lane and how that's going to go. You need probably a tankier support if you're going to deal with the Darkseer Bounty Hunter presence. Very notorious, the Ion Shell on top of an Invis hero, and then being able to have that Janata slow and Orb of Venom to allow the Darkseer to also close the distance with that hero. It's a tough lane to work, and I think that's why in part Cloud9 are going to get a safe lane hero that has a whole lot of self-sustain, is able to usually 1v1 or 1v2 these sort of situations, and maybe their other support isn't even going to lane half the time. Maybe he'll be putting pressure on the bottom lane and mirror Barris' strategy. So I like this Necrophos.
Yeah, and this is a hero that will give them that pseudo 5-man if they want to take that approach again, but it also scales very well. Necro can get a lot of benefit from items, and these three heroes so far that Bears have aren't really all too dangerous for Necro. The Iron Shell is good magic damage to go through the Ghost Shroud, but it's really like the disable into burst damage you're worried about, like the Invoker type heroes. But burst damage is likely to come out from either the mid or the safe lane, so there is still plenty of room to adjust to this Necro pick for Bears, but as it stands, Necro, SF, decent dual core, and even though Cloud9 revealed their draft, I do like the two picks they've got.
At this point, trying to think of any of the mids that have left that we've seen them pick up, and it was like Quap and Ember Spirit, but both those were banned away by Cloud9. Probably anticipation of a Necrophos pick in some ways.
Could just go straight back to the Invoker. Like it worked pretty well last game. It was up against an Ogre then as well, but Mirana is going to be the option.
Yeah, I think when it comes to early pressure in magic damage, Mirana, Puck, those are the kind of mids you're going to be searching for. But I am surprised. I when you said Invoker, I was like, well, yeah, they dealt with a push lineup before, right? So they could probably run the Invoker again. Maybe it's in some part because of the lesser initiation, and they have a Bounty Hunter, right? So it means you want to make sure you want to facilitate early game aggression as much as possible. Otherwise, Bounty Hunter by proxy just looks like a really crappy hero, right? You need other heroes to make that Bounty Hunter work.
Cloud9 pick a forgotten offlane in the Batrider. This poor fella has not seen any play in Europe, it feels like, over this last week or two, but this used to be Hessajo's best hero if you go way back to when they were playing as Team Imperial. They were running this first pick Batrider. They were the ones doing the Batrider Centaur strats, and we'll see them go back to the Batrider for this game, giving them a clear initiator and a clear way to set up and start fights, blink lasso, Reaper Scythe, get that first kill, and then turn it into a 5v4 from there. And a pretty good hero to match up against this Bears draft so far. None of these four necessarily cause too many problems for a Batrider.
Yeah, they, especially because they still have a safe laner yet. There's not going to be any kind of saving hero. There won't be a counter to the lasso unless there is a really unique safe lane hero that I haven't thought of that's going to be picked by Bears. Batrider should be able to always be able to get his blink in lasso, and maybe he'll be disabled from there, but there won't be anything to stop that lasso from occurring in the first place.
So Cloud9's last pick, most likely the Rise hero. We'll see what that's going to be. Disrupt is something he's played quite a bit of. That's still in the pool against the Darkseer. Gives him a bit more team fight as well, but plenty of options as far as that 5-position support goes, depending on what gap they feel they're most missing here. And yeah, I'm curious to see what that Bears carry is going to be. I feel like that's the big pick still remaining in this draft. Like at this point, Cloud9 have more or less revealed everything. Okay, there's a disruptor of 5-position support, but
Nice call.
Bears' draft, like it's like it can go anywhere with this carry. Like you can get something early game, you can go for the late game, get something that's going to scale well. That's typically what Bears do, but with the bounty hunters you mentioned, they've even gone them around it. Perhaps they are thinking a bit more early mid game focused.
What about a Diffusal Blade hero, right? That is one of the big problems with Necrophos. You may have some magic damage, but you still have generally problems with that Ghost Shroud. Jug's gone.
Slack is not a diffusal
Well,
hero,
magic
but
damage.
yeah, more magic damage. They've actually got a ton of magic damage to hit this Necro and his Ghost Shroud right now between, the Mirana, the Slack has some good magic damage, the Shuriken from the Bounty, the Iron Shell. It's a hero that also uses the Iron Shell. I think that's, to me, one of the important things with the Slack. Like right now, they can use the Iron Shell in the early game to pressure lanes with the Bounty, but come mid game, like when they carry, when he comes online, I feel like you want someone who can be Iron Shelled up and have that extra bit of damage output.
Yeah, it really does seem like the perfect hero, right? Early magic damage, uses the Ion Shell, still scales late game, so we're not under that pressure of like, oh god, we don't really have a pushing hero, but we have to make this early game work. I think it kind of checks all of the boxes that we needed. Also, a hero that deals with Batrider, right? That was also a big problem, is that offlaner is oftentimes having a suffocating presence, and you only have the Rubik to protect you, most likely, if they want to fully use this BH Darkseer combo. So I think it was the perfect pick for Bears, but will it be enough? Because I still look at Cloud9's lineup, it does seem rather threatening. More team fight power and less pushing power than last time, but it is, I think, a similar strategy.
Yeah, as much as Cloud9 normally a team who does really well in the early game, I feel like this is the game where Bears need to have the better early game. They've got the Darkseid Bounty Hunter, and I feel like if they're not having a good laning stage, their lineup doesn't come back in the same way it did last game. Last game, they just kind of sat around, farmed their jungle for a little while, gave up a tower hero there, and just wait till Weaver and Voka hit all their key items. This game, I feel like the play to get back into the game isn't through farming and efficiency, it's through fighting.
Apparently, Showcase View still breaks Dota.
Did you crash?
I did.
Oh.
Fortunately, there's a pause for us, so it's all good. You know, it used to be that you would, if you hit escape during Showcase View, it would crash. Now apparently it's just being in Showcase View.
So apparently, I just got messaged by Baseskip that this Necrophos is 0 and 5.
What?
I imagine it's just in DAC Europe. But
okay.
I mean, the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen the Necrophos win games. I always feel like some games it's done all right, but Ad Finum played it at least one of their games. We saw it. I think we saw it in one of Cloud9's losses as well. But yeah, that's not exactly the best. It's one of those heroes had a ridiculous pub win rate, and I played a bit. I remember you telling me I was actually, because you said so. Like we're at
someone Genting, yeah,
and you were saying how you'd been trying out the Necrophos, doing some more against Mirage, and then one game I just tried it and it was ridiculously good. But it seems people now are used to versing it, and it doesn't seem to work as well anymore. Now that people understand how Ghost Shroud works.
Yeah, I think the Ghost Shroud difference was definitely something that people had to adjust to, because it did have such a huge turnaround potential. Not just being able to go ethereal, but that regen rate as well, I think was very surprising to people, and offered so many opportunities for turnarounds here. The pros have dealt with it for a while now, and at least you could see from Bears, they have the strategy against it as well. Lots of magic damage being picked up, and still having a nice scaling core. Hell, it's still ultimately an agility hero. He could get a Diffusive Blade later on to the game if the Ghost Shroud is still a problem for him.
Yep. And I'm going to get his first Iron Shell go scouting into this top rune, where currently no sentries are put down. He has full vision of Rise, and this is not looking like a bounty rune that Cloud9 will be able to secure. Potentially a triple bounty rune coming Bear's way.
You know, the one thing I the one thing that is somewhat concerning for me is the fact that they don't have any dust. And I think that's always somewhat problematic against these aggro dual lanes when they have these invis heroes, because they are so threatening with the Ion Shell and such. You're going to have to play pretty far back. Your kind of wards have to preemptively placed. And if Adam starts taking away some of those sentries, if he actually spies out Rise placing a sentry here, or even, just receive some creep aggro or something like that, he takes that away, all of a sudden you are just fully under the spell of, Rise. Oh, the arrow! Don't! No! He walked into it! That'll be first blood for somebody. It'll be for Ev. Clicks it with the Ion Shell from a distance.
You can get some experience for that one too. Adam will get the bounty rune as well, so gets even worse for Cloud9. In fact, and that's more or less a solo kill for Adam. He's just in there deep by himself, gets the bounty rune, gets a kill for his team. Boy, that's a dream start. And yeah, I'm definitely with you about the dust. Instead, they got 4 sentries at the start instead. But I feel like dust is so good for killing bounties with that movement speed slow if he goes invis to try and escape. Although he has gone for the level 1 boots, which with the Darkseer is a very strong option. He's going to be right from the get-go, level 1, pressuring Ace.
It looks like Darkseer, this is kind of cool. They're just max efficiency here. He's going to be jungling on for Ev, and they're letting the Ion Shell Bounty Hunter pick up a really fast level 2 because in part of the solo first blood that he got.
Yeah, sometimes it's quite hard to get those early levels. Like getting a fast Janata can be very useful in a Darkseer type dual lane, so liking this from Bears, this small little bit of efficiency, and there's no reason you have to be dominating from level 1 as a Darkseer bounty. You can wait till it's like level 3 Iron Shell to go for it.
Yeah, after all, the Pika Bounty Hunter in the laning phase is level 3, when he's got the Janata slow as he comes out of Shadow Walk, and he also has that heavy level 1 nuke. Everyone loves Shuriken Toss, but you can't get it until level 3. But at level 1, it does 150 damage. That's massive for a level 1 nuke.
He's just trading hits with the support, knowing they're about to shrine up as well, so just small kind of efficiency plays from Bears. But Fata himself, he's unfortunately not able to be too farming efficiency. He's being zoned up by an Ogre. At least catches a neutral creep with an arrow, so gets a bit of farm and XP there. And we'll see whether or not Bears have any solution to this mid lane. For now, it feels like they're just going to keep the pressure up at top, and Forev could look for this kill. They spot the ward coming out. They know exactly where that is. There'll be an easy D ward and possibly a kill onto Rise.
Yeah, Rise needs the help of Ace now. He gets the heal. He still have the Ghost Shroud if they want to try and slow down Adam, but he's got the early boots, so he's going to go for the chase down underneath the tower. Pretty easy kill here. They may give up his life for it, and that may end up kind of being worth it if they can actually get it. The right click is there. Ace will get the maxed out charges of Death Pulse and get a lot of mana back for that. So that's kind of worth it considering the fact they were giving Bounty Hunter all this early level 1 experience. He's now level 3. That was a big boost for C9.
Yeah, you're safe laner getting a solo kill and getting the Death Pulse procs as well. Ypso's in a bit of trouble here against the Hestejo. Batrider tries to go for the Ancient Suicide, but doesn't get it. Hestejo was just on the high ground, had the Rubik walk into him. Ypso misread the situation, thought Batrider was just jungling away, but that was not the case.
Adam just poking his head here. It takes a deny, tosses down a sentry, I guess to make the SF a bit more scared as Noya attempts to leave the lane, but now it's Noya who's in trouble as he headed into that Dire Secret Shop area, is going to be run down by Yapso with the Ion Shell on top of him. Forev, fortunately for Noya, is out of mana, so they couldn't get the double Ion Shell nor the Surge to really chase down this Ogre, and he will get back to safety.
Yeah, good discipline there. Kind of what they were needing, I think, with Adam's dive. They didn't have to get that kill on the Disruptor. They just had to continue and maintain their pressure, but it's going to be pressure now on the mid lane. Baby Knight could be in some trouble. Yapso's a bit far away for the lift, and without the arrow landing... Oh, Baby Knight trying to turn it around. Misses the first race, hits the second. But we'll have to back off and shrine up, perhaps, or even Bottle Crow. He's getting a bit low here in this middle lane.
Yeah, this is very well thought out from Bears. I like this a lot. It hasn't worked out perfectly, but you give the Bounty Hunter that solo experience up in the off lane. because you know the Ogre Magi, he's going to be at mid, and you can't impact that lane for the first 2 minutes. But typically, Ogre needs to leave the lane eventually, right? He can't totally spit experience with the SF. So once SF has that Souls and has a big damage lead over the Mirana, who is notorious for having rather low damage in the beginning of the game, that's going to be your window as the bounty hunter to start putting pressure on the SF. And then C9 are forced to do what? They maybe bring the Ogre back, but again, you're splitting experience that whole entire time.
I'm liking it. I feel like their side is just getting a lot more out of the lane as a result.
Oh, that was a double century kill from Noya. He placed 1 cent and found the 2.
Well, then now they'll do well. I was about to say that top observer ward that Rice placed has been in that top lane for an awful long time, but Adam came back, took it out, and is ready to roam back into this top lane. A decent-sized neutral stack is here, which is being contested by both teams, and Adam, with his rotation in, could potentially find a kill, but Central Ward scouts him out.
He's going to have to do an early glimpse back, but if Adam runs right, he's going to be out of that with the surge. That'll help him out as well. Yeah. C9.
Four took the sentry out, so the detection was gone as well.
Oh, nice. Meanwhile, we haven't actually talked about bottom lane at all, besides Hestajo getting a kill, but Firo's free farming, Hestajo's jungling. It's kind of boring.
Hestajo came to the lane once or twice, put a bit of pressure on the Slark, and Slark, you can see it reflects in his CS a little bit. He's not farming as much as the Necrophos is, for example, but Slark doesn't have quite as easy a laning stage as a Necro. Any little bit of pressure is going to be hard to deal with, but now that he's level 6, he's got that easy regen, and this lane should get a whole lot better for him.
Fada is about to pick up his level 6. We'll see if Bears have something planned for the early Moonlight Shadow. They're going to move Darkseer over or something, or move the Slark around, or they're just going to keep the laning phase where it's at. I mean, it's not going terribly, right? 32-1 on Fada's Mirana against the 34-13 of Baby Knight. He can't really do much jungling just because of Adam. They might be able to catch Noya here, but Noya actually turns around, does manage to get the stun, dodges the arrow. Fada having rough luck there with the arrows. Started off with a beauty, allowing first blood to happen, but ever since, it's been all misses.
Yep. Oh, Courier will scout the Batrider movement. That's actually perhaps fortunate for them, because that bat was rotating on Fata, but even without the bat, they may have this kill. Fata.
Oh no, they're out of counter vision.
No detection, yeah. Bat's still here though. Hestajo doesn't, again, no detection.
Oh no! The telekinesis was not thrown quite far enough back. It looks like Fada misjudged again, and either way, I'm not sure if that, like maybe second and a half stun would have allowed them to kill Hestajo.
Bat had the raindrops, so would have blocked arrow damage, or potentially even some Starstorm damage with that, so don't think that was likely going to be a kill regardless.
An early Helma Dominator for Ace. I can't remember if this was his build last time, but I do like the idea here against the Darkseer.
That is, yeah, just purge off that Iron Shell every single time. Mm-hmm. That is pretty obnoxious for a Darkseer to have to deal with. Just can't push this lane whatsoever.
Yeah. And it still gives pretty decent stats as well, right? So it's not like Necrophos is going to be behind when it comes to those items. Firo tries to make a pounce here onto Hestajo, misses. Hestajo turns around, tries to get some Firefly damage, but there is the Rubik with the response.
Yeah, I think the item for Necrophos fits him fine. You want your hero that wants to kind of fight early, not just farm away, and you're happy to use that creep as an aggressive kind of utility. And we're seeing them start to pressure this top tier 1 tower now with the help of it.
He's out of mana though on the purge creep, so an arrow, shuriken, that slight midi stun is what allows the stun of the arrow to be able to land, and Baby Knight maybe going down. The Fairy Fire is actually going to be enough to save him. Turns around, gets 1 raise, 2 raise onto Adam. Adam's dusted up, so he's going to get dropped, and now Fada is in trouble as well, as he doesn't have leap. Hestajo is going to be able to collect that kill as well. What a big play there from Cloud9, a huge turnaround. You can see they're ready at all times with the TP rotations as well.
Yeah, they play this early game so well in so many different ways, not just when it comes to 5-manning and pushing and winning lanes, but helping each other out. The early moves, C9, keep Baby Knight alive and get a couple of kills on the way out. SF is happy to spam out this mid lane and maintain his level of farm. So right now things are overall going slightly better for C9 than Bears, but this is definitely a recurring theme when it comes to C9 laning stages, and same for the Bears. So won't necessarily be off-putting for them, but it may kind of force them into a playstyle where they're just going to wait some of their key items, the Ags of the Mirana and the Shadow Blade of the Slark. These items aren't particularly close, but they will be coming around that kind of like 15, 16 minute mark, and that's where Bears will become a lot stronger.
And what I really like is that with the Bounty Hunter kill, SF immediately starts doing some jungle, because before he couldn't. Hestejo's going to be caught, pulled back by the vacuum into the wall. That wall slow allows the telekinesis to land, and Bears will pick up that kill. But they're not able to deal with this aggression in top lane. It's a double wave push into the tier 1 tower. Darkseer can't do anything to respond it. He's bottom anyway, so that is going to be a pretty big net worth lead now for Ace, sitting at 5k.
Yeah, that's also looks like his mech completed too, so he gets a whole lot harder to kill with that Ghost Shroud mech, able to burst heal yourself back up. Not really sure Bears have the damage to bring him down unless they can get like a really good chain stun with a lift into arrow or something along those lines.
Well, they have a double damage in the bottle of Fada and a Moonlight Shadow coming up in 15 seconds. We'll see if they plan to use this aggressively in the next minute or so. And who, if they did get aggressive, say they do, Gods, who would you like to see them gank? Do you want to put pressure on the Necrophos, or do you want to try and keep this SF down and underfarmed?
I think Ace is, to me, more the key player. Like, SF is going to have his way getting items and farm. Like, C9 are really good at protecting him, but I feel like Ace is often kind of more on his own, split pushing. He's had the one hero with him in the Disruptor, but I think like a three hero rotation with like a Bounty and Mirana could find those kills. But for now, they start off on bottom.
More TPs coming in, and the counter. Yapzor actually lasts up. Hestejo, who gets pulled back into the arrow of Fada with the double damage. They do manage to bring him down. 0 for 2 trade, actually, as they managed to kill the Ogre and don't lose Yapzor. There just wasn't enough sticky napalm stacks, and he manages to survive through all of that. So, and the worst part is Cloud9 rotated all their heroes down here too and didn't get a kill.
Well, there's something out of the double damage rune. Moonlight Shadow causing problems once again for Cloud9, and they're all grouped up at the shrine. They can go for the group heal. No smokes available. I imagine they'll just transition back to their lanes to defend bottom, perhaps just play some farming oriented style for a little bit. They still haven't got the initiation item on Fear. It does look like he's going to go for the more kind of fighting style build, going for the Echo Saber Blink that he's queued up at least at the moment. But as a result of that bottom aggression, C9 taking advantage of having all their heroes down bottom to take the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, great play here by by both teams. First of all, C9 making the rapid rotation to defend their tower. Pull back there onto Noya, but it'll be good. But also Adam's positioning behind the tier 1 tower to see the rotations onto the tier 2. Especially since there could have been a Blink Dagger up on Batrider. You need that advanced vision to be able to make the calls. They tried to get the quick tier 1 tower kill since they weren't going to defend bottom. Fada's been chipping away at that one for quite some time. It's now close to deny range, but for now, C9 will hold that outer structure.
And Bounty even managed to get out after the bat rotated in with Dust, but Ace is now showed up in the mid lane. This is the C9 we've come to expect, where they're grouping up around these early game 5-man pushes, setting up around their kind of key early game items. In this case, it's the mech on the Ace as well as the Dragon Lance on the Shadow Fiend, and they are looking to take some early objectives. The response from Bears seems to be, for now, to split push these side lanes. They've got Firo taking the top tier 1, they've got 4F farming down bottom. Not the end of the world to lose a tier 1 as long as you're getting something elsewhere on the map.
It's a hard work and purge creep, man. It's been purging off Ace now with the bounty being placed on him all the time. Rise does get hit by an arrow, and they're ready for the rotations if an opening like that presented itself, but looks like it wasn't good enough to actually grant a kill. Darkseer TPs onto the shrine as well. That's what I liked about Bears, is that they did have a plan to get aggressive if an arrow landed.
Fastest going to get the courier. It looks like he saw it with the Observer Ward. He's in position.
Nice
Gets
pickup.
3 right clicks he needs, and yep, nice little snipe.
There's a fresh Blink Dagger for Hestejo. He'll find Yapzor. It's not a monster big kill, but it is enough for Cloud9 to threaten this tier 2 some more. Oh, nice vacuum wall. Now, that is not going to be a fight by any means. Nice turnaround there from Baby Knight, quickly killing those illusions. But it is, again, just a small poke at C9, trying to delay their push and allow Firo and Fada more time to farm.
That AoE damage instantly destroyed those illusions, and does look like they will have to slowly perhaps consider retreating here. Ace did hold on to the Reaper, didn't use it on the lasso target. Wants to make sure he still has it for a bigger kill, perhaps. The C9 still sit around this middle lane.
Arrow comes out. That's going to miss. The track is building up some damage thanks to the Shuriken, but that's being undone by the Death Pulses and mech, so they're not actually giving themselves much of an opportunity to work with here. Hesta Joe comes in once again. This time he doesn't have the lasso, still 30 seconds left, but he does get some nice aggressive Firefly and enough pressure to allow his teammates to take that tier 2, hopefully without getting caught. Doesn't look like Ferev has his surge ready to go, so unless Fada lands a big arrow here, but C9 are actually ready to turn. They're gonna fight. Hesta Joe chasing down some. Where's the glimpse? I'm waiting for it to be laid down on somebody here, but they just can't quite get the vision with nighttime. They see Yapsor. Yapsor will be the pickup, but the kinetic field doesn't latch. He doesn't get sent that far back, and Yapsor may still be able to get ahead. It's the Reaper Scythe laid down. That'll hold him in place. That'll definitely get the kill, I'm sure, but it's not a Reaper Scythe kill. And that is just more and more time for Firo, honestly. I would trade that minute's worth of time for Firo.
Everything that's happened to me in the last 2 or 3 minutes hasn't been all that bad for Bears. They've not lost any key heroes. They've had a free farming Slark in this top lane who took a tier 1 tower and almost a tier 2. He is now being hunted down with Batrider's lasso back up. Cloud9 are trying to punish this, but I was about to say this experience differential must be massive right now, and it's 4,000 XP in Bears' favor. The gold is only in Cloud9's favor in a minuscule way. It's 600 gold that they've got on top of Bears, and the experience is a big problem because of how much they've been 5-manning.
Yeah, the small gold advantage that they have could be undone by, if you look at both the mid tower that's been chipped away as well as the top tower, like those are inevitable kills for Bears. Like eventually you're going to get the right kind of positioning to take those. So if you actually make that happen, Bears are actually up in gold and experience, despite the fact that C9 have been claiming so many early towers per usual.
And that experience can make a big difference. Ryze wasn't level 7. When they turned around to chase, he didn't have level 4 glimpse. It was only level 3, really limiting his pick-off potential. So that's where you've got a level 8 Batrider. That really feels a bit lackluster as well. I feel like this is where you'd typically see like level 10, level 11 on a Batrider, which he has maxed out as Firefly, but still lacking points in both Napalm and Flamebreak. And now they pick up a gem, but this gem to me suggests they're going to just continue to 5-man. You don't pick this time to split push or to farm all around the map. It does help against the Bounty Hunter, but it does feel like Cloud9 are going to maintain a level of aggression towards taking early objectives and towers.
I feel like they've almost invested into this plan so much that they just have to keep going. They've got, in some ways, sort of a sunken cost here, where it's like, all right, we're definitely behind in experience, but if we can finish off the rest of these tier 2 towers, we open up shrines with the gem, we also take a lot of map control. Maybe that's the way we can bring this farming game back into our favor.
Yeah, if they can use all this towers to actually take over this Radiant jungle, because I think at some point their lineup isn't going to be able to break high ground. That's for sure. They do not have heroes, even with an Aegis, to threaten high ground. So at some point they have to fall back and play the farming efficiency game, whether that involves things like Midas's. Don't think so, really. They haven't really got the best Midas heroes, or just trying to play map control, get wards up, use this gem to deny your opponent's vision, and take fights based on what vision you do have, because that seems to be the approach they're taking now.
Wow. That Radiant scan, it almost lasted long enough to be able to get the successful read on C9 here. Hesta Joe, they're actually going to get popped here. The arrow lands on Ace. Hesta Joe, his smoke is popped as well. Bears are going to try and come forward here with the Moonlight Shadow. Ferev throws out the vacuum wall. Nice, into the corner there. They're going to be clapped up by Roshan as well, so slowing down that retreat. Baby Knight again on point. Fearo's actually going to jump up onto the cliff area here, trying to catch Hesta Joe. Hesta Joe is low. Nice telekinesis toss back into 4 as well. Hesta Joe still surviving, has the track on him. Fearo's going to go for this kill with his ultimate. He'll pick that up. Baby Knight lets loose the ult, but Fearo's already away, so they're going to have to get at him instead. The gem
On Ogre.
On Ogre. So Noya did manage to pick that one up, and that's how they got the bounty hunter kill as well. Fada just TP's back, so...
Alright. Just good chip, constant chip from Bears there to delay the Roshan. I mean, they throw a vacuum wall, not really to initiate off of, but again, just to do a bit of damage, buy some time, try and force them to get out of that pit, and a small little fight breaks out, which leads to just the 1 kill. And even if Bears don't contest this next Roshan, which they still might do, I still feel like just delaying that Rosh by like a minute or two is a win in itself. And yeah, they'll come back towards the pit. Hesta Joe, he's got the gem back in his hands, and we'll find Adam.
Adam bounces that shuriken between the two, trying to run himself away. He's got the movement speed, but he can't outrun Glimpse. So he'll be stuck in the kinetic fields. Fada and Fearo again with the split pushing during that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a Bears team who probably aren't too concerned with an Aegis at this point. They know what their high ground defense is like. They also know they can constantly split push with Mirana and Slark. Fata almost has a Blink Dagger to go with his Aghanim Scepter, and he's now chipping away at this bottom tier 1. There's a cooldown on Lasso, so that death on Adam's Bounty Hunter, it's not really all too bad when it gives you some freedom on your course to split push these side lanes. Without the Lasso, getting kills comes down to the Glimpse at that point, which is just one less tool for Cloud9 to play around.
Yeah, Fada's not really scared, because if it's just a Glimpse, right, he can just leap at the first sign of aggression and pop Moonlight Shadow. So it's the Lasso that would have kept him from pushing that tier 1 tower. In the end, they do manage to pick that one up. Top lane, Ace, this is a very big kill. He does still have the Guardian Greaves. Fearo pops the early ultimate here to make sure he does not drop below half HP. He's going to go back in, hits another pounce, trapping in Ace. They need the rotations out from Cloud9, but they just aren't getting them. Ace throws out a Reaper's Sight just to be able to slow down Fearo and hopefully get back, but he just can't get there in time. Rise was almost there with the Kinetic Field Static Storm, but now he may be caught as well. Fearo has his Blink Dagger up in 5 seconds time, trying to chase him down, but won't find him. Cloud9 have smoked up on Hesta Joe, but I doubt they're going to make anything happen without Ace on the field.
Just 1 sec, I'm just reconnecting back in the game. I missed that last 15 seconds.
Well, Batrider tried to catch Fearo with that smoke. Doesn't actually result in much, and if anything, Cloud9 are going to be able to make their turnaround here. An arrow landed onto Baby Knight, so they quickly jump forward. Kill Hesta Joe. Yapster with a Stolen Requiem does get a lot of damage out onto Cloud9 as well, plus the damage reduction. C9 cannot fight this one. The BKB is going to wear low here on Baby Knight. Now Fearo and Fada both jump back in with their Blink Daggers. Bears are just completely outmaneuvering Cloud9. An arrow actually misses on the Aegis Revive, but Baby Knight, he's kind of stuck here anyway. Maybe with the explosion damage, Ace can get a kill, but he doesn't have the Reaper's Sight, so even as the SF dies, Bears are still healthy enough. Ace can't do anything, so he's just come back and died almost immediately. Runs around the shrine, is going to activate it, but he's still 5 seconds left until the Reaper's Sight is up. I don't see him surviving long enough to be able to do anything, so wow.
That full-on team wipe there, I believe. All 5 going down throughout the course of that one. Losing your gem as well makes it an additional 1,800 gold swing. Worst case scenario for Cloud9. They didn't have the room to lose like a single fight this game, it felt like, based on the way they were playing. Going for this big, heavy emphasis on 5-manning down towers. They were already giving up so much farm and XP to all 3 cores on the Bears side through the split push, and suddenly we're looking at a very poor Batrider. He invested heavily to have that gem. That was his money that was going into that one, and he's as poor as the Rubik right now. You've got 5 very farm cores and then a big drop-off down to what are effectively the 5 supports at this point. And Fearo, he's not done. He finds another kill, a warding disruptor, gets punished, and they know exactly where that ward is to deal with using the newly acquired gem on Adam.
Diffuser Blade up next for Fearo, so he is going to try and counter that Ghost Shroud. The SF is the only threat, I think, for Bears, and they've just played kind of an in-and-out game against him, Slark. You know, pounces in, forces the BKB, and then he'll run away with his ultimate half the time, and then Fada will blink back in once the BKB is down. They're just playing time. They know they have late game with the Slark as well. Slark and Darkseers scale really well, and they also still have a really nice peak with this Mirana. Going in the probably next 15 minutes or so with his Aghanims, Blink, and Boots of Travel. He has all his farming items, and to the next items, we'll start seeing some real damage out of him. Whether that's more Magic Burst, which might be preferred against the Necrophos, or physical damage. Either way, Mirana still has yet to hit her peak.
Absolutely. Still lots of room for her to grow item-wise. I think this is a game where Lincolns are going to be super valuable as well. Once you have Lincolns in the playing field, Batrider he's just not going to be a hero this game. It looks like Slack is building one next. I think even Mirana could consider on getting multiple Lincolns is totally fine because all of the catch comes from single target initiation and the Glimpse or the Batrider Lasso. And then often that finishing blow from the Necro, the Reaper, is another potential spell to block as well.
C9 trying to finish off this tier 2 tower. Fada is just going to go for the push into the high ground, instantly eliminating the creep wave and beginning that chip damage. So while they may have gotten that tier 2, it cost them a lot of map control, and there's still another tier 2 left to opening up those shrines. And we said, you know, Cloud9's, their idea was to be able to finish up the rest of these tier 2s early and use that gem to control the map as well as take out the shrines, and then maybe from there Bears can't actually farm the same way that they have been with all this split pushing. But Bears have gotten to a place where they can now fight in. There's a jump in, force the BKB. There's a wall, vacuum as well out from Farev. There is a Disruptor Static Storm holding him in, but they're actually not getting enough damage to kill Farev. He's going to Guardian Greaves up and run away. C9 did not have Ace in that fight, nor did they have Baby Knight outputting a whole lot of damage as he was too scared of Firo in the beginning. 13-9, nothing really comes of that engagement, but another BKB charge down for the SF.
It really is the game plan, just hit and run on the SF. And like the Saka's first pick, I was thinking in my head, like, okay, Saka's great against all these heroes. Is he really good against SF with the Rec Room? And then the more I thought about it, like, we have not seen good, like, SF BKB Rec Rooms for the most part. We've seen a lot of SF picks, but Rec Rooms have not been getting many kills. Most of the time they're defensive or used in zoning ways. It's hard to reliably actually hit heroes in close range now that we're not really seeing that like Blink build to go with like an initiating stunner as well. So as it stands, more likely than not, it'll just be kind of defensive Requiem from Baby Knight, using it to apply the slow and the damage mitigation. But this is becoming more and more problematic because Batrider is not going to be like a real damage dealing core. The SF, and the SF really has to be all their damage. Necro has no damage either. He's gone for like a pretty standard Necro build with Pipe as well as Greaves, but the end result is that all their damage comes from SF.
I knew you wanted to be Trixie Yapzor. He had the stolen lasso. He's going to go for the kill on Rise, but this will result in a turnaround. Cloud9, we're all nearby. There goes a vacuum. Reaper's Scythe finishes off Rise. Firo came in from the side with the help of Fada. They do manage to take down the Ogre. Baby Knight runs into the arrow here, doesn't get the BKB off in time, and they're going to try and go for him a little bit. Lasso onto Fada, though. They're actually in a bit of trouble. If Fada can get out, he's good. Now Firo lays into Baby Knight with his right-click damage. He pops the ultimate. Baby Knight's down to half health, and Ace and Hesta Joe need to try and help him out. The wall goes down. Baby Knight gets eliminated by Firo and his own illusion. Rev stuck inside the fire with the sticky napalm stacks, but it's still not enough. A jump forward. Hesta Joe can't quite catch him. Adam maybe dropped. Flame Break is going to take him out, but Rev is going to get away. Now the bounce back in. Firo has all these stats upgrades. Immediately manages a Diffusal Blade off the Ghost Shroud. Ace is not going to survive through this, and Firo just keeps on marching forward. The stun goes down, instantly taken off by the Dark Pact. They'll finish off Hesta Joe and wipe Cloud9, I think, from this existence. I'm not sure if Rise died early in that engagement or not, but either way, multiple kills going the way of Firo. His Lincolns is rapidly approaching.
Yeah, Rise was that opening kill at the very start, and that was a second full team wipe of the game. Firo well and truly online, becoming a huge menace to deal with. He's about to reach his level 20 talent as well to get even more stats. He's hunting for the Disruptor. He knows Disruptor doesn't have any friends, and he's no. Right clicks. He gets it. Oh, just in time. That's brutal.
Team wipe times 2. All right.
Yeah. There are good people in this world, and there are slack pickers in this world.
138 agility. Think Slark's not a building hitter? Wait. Once a team fight like that happens, he beats down towers real quickly.
Yeah, as tanky as an SF can be, you don't want to be too tanky against a Slack if he's wailing away on you, because he just builds up those stacks. And same story with the Necrophos. fairly tanky, take a while to bring down, but the end result is Firo walks away with a absurd amount of agility to play around. They could theoretically even try and use this to take another engagement here, and they are grouping up around this mid lane.
Firo jumps on a Baby Knight here. Baby Knight already down to half health. Does have the BKB, though. Fada jumps forward, throws an arrow out from the trees, surprises Noya, lands that one. Hesijo's going to try and respond with the lasso, but this opens Firo to make his initiation onto Baby Knight once again. These heroes from Bears, though, seem to be too tanky. With the BKBs, Ace can't lay down that Reaper Scythe. He lays it down right as the BKB wears out, but it looks like Fada still managed to survive through it. A pullback there, Glimpse Static Storm completely misses, and Firo is going to turn onto the Baby Knight SF, finish him off, get Rise as well, and probably jump for more. Gets a Force Staff, throws out the pounds, hits Ace, diffuse a blade up immediately as the Ghost Shroud is laid down, and racking up those stats. Ace is going to try and TP out, does make it, but Firo up to 32. Stolen, Essence Shift, 96 plus agility. They're going to go back, maybe take this tier 2 tower at this point.
He wants to go back in the base, it seems like. He's like pinging the high ground, like, can we go again, guys? There's no SF. Like, Firo is just playing like a beast this game. That Diffusal is working out fantastic against the Necros. Ace goes back for a Ghost Scepter so that he can try and take advantage of that Diffusal cooldown, but that's all happening. Another pick. Firo catches the Bat Rider. I mean, you have a 4-second window between Diffusals where that Ghost Scepter can provide you some protection. So I guess that's the idea from Ace.
I mean, I don't think he has a better game plan. He can't Force Staff against the Pounce. That would be normally an escape item that Necrophos would choose to pick up. The initiation's too strong from Bears at this point, so he can't rely on a Blink Dagger either.
And he also just needs items now. Like, he can't look to save up for like some kind of big item like a Shivers or an Ag Scepter. It feels like you only have 2k gold. It's like, well, we're losing fights right now. I can't save for something big. I've got to buy whatever I can. So, I mean, Ghost Scepter kind of hits that price point, but Firo not done. The Observer finds him another kill, and there's a Lincoln Sphere on Firo, meaning he can really engage into whatever he wants at this point without too much fear.
Cloud9 just need to sit back for a while, let these Essence Shifts stacks just go away, because Firo's just maintaining a constant 90 to plus 100 agility.
Yeah, it has not gone down since that first big team fight, and Firo will finally settle. It looks like he's going to use it, or the waiting away Essence Shift to help take Roche down. But I think, as you said, Cloud9 just want to sit back and they're chilling. They're like, all right, we just got picked off like 10 times in a row right outside our base of this Slark. Let's hide in our base for once. But problem is, hiding in your base means no contest on this Roshan.
I'm not even sure if Firo needs the Aegis, to be honest. Maybe
like
it goes Vada's way. Yeah.
Pick it up, and Firo, we'll see what he wants to go for. 3.2k gold. He's already got money for another big item on top of the Lincoln Sphere.
Damn.
Oh boy.
He's not even close to being out of Diffuser Blade charges either, so he's just going to go straight for a Moon Shard.
Oh. Yeah. Just walking around, playing with it in his inventory for that ridiculous attack speed. Now we'll see even more Essence Shift coming his way. Does mean he has no boots, but when you're in Fog, you're at 472 anyways.
C9 hold up inside their base. Bears are not going to be able to find initiation, it looks like, with this smoke. They will have to do it the hard way, pushing high ground into 5 unless Baby Knight gets caught out. Telekinesis, pullback here, but no follow-up stun. Fada not in a position to get the combo arrow. Looks like he already used it on a creep.
Firo's night vision with this Moonshot is going to be pretty absurd, so perhaps even considering waiting until nighttime to make your big plays happen, but it will then instead mean that the Aegis time is perhaps somewhat wasted. So definitely some incentive for Bears to try and take some fights right now, if possible.
Chilling out here. What are they waiting for? Oh, Shiva's is about to be finished up by Forev with his Blink Dagger. That's a pretty big pickup.
Gotcha. Yeah, other than that, I mean, their key levels, like, no one's that close to any big talents. Their 3 cores are all level 20 to 22, so there's no level 25 talents coming anytime soon. perhaps waiting for a pick off or something, because Cloud9 have moved out and Ace will show himself at bottom with Baby Knight, but it doesn't look like anyone in the neighborhood is going to be able to do all too much there.
And Ethereal Blade coming in for Fada. I think that is the last item, last bit that they're waiting for. Shiva's and Ethereal Blade, fresh item pickups for Bears. They have the Aegis. They have everything they need to be able to close out this game. They're going to wrap through this area first, see if they can find anybody from C9. All they may end up finding is Vision. So Adam finds one Observer Ward.
A lot of wards in this area, so that smoke move out, at least Cloud9 got some vision, but it's vision that's going to be soon taken away. There we go, they'll get both wards, and with that, Cloud9 very blind, going to be stuck on their high ground.
Observer Ward place, immediately going to be countered, and catching Adam. That's going to be a nice pick to start this whole entire fight, unless, oh no, the vacuum downwards has pulled Ace down to the low ground. This could be a 1-for-1, but it looks like Ace is tanky enough to be able to survive through that. So a free pick for Cloud9. They catch the Observer Ward being placed, and they catch the Observer Ward placer.
Well, the Glimpse, unfortunately, doesn't catch the slack with his Lincolns, but will slow down the push, buy some time for the Aegis to wear off, and Cloud9 still in a position to hold on to their high ground here. They may have killed a bounty, but I think they still need to be very careful about leaving their base.
There's the vacuum. Hesta Joe drop low. The Shiva's going to be able to finish him off. Firo in the back line's already taken out the Disruptor first. Deals with that AoE silence. Now purging up Ace. There goes that extra bit of ethereal form for Ace, keeping him alive, but they need to activate the Shrine to save Ace. He turns around Reaper's sight, but that's going to do minimal amount of damage. He's just hoping to be able to save his own life, but now an extra nuking power. The arrow's not enough. A Shrine keeps him alive. Cloud9 will not utterly lose that fight. They lose some of their supporting cast, but it's the cores who stay alive, and that's what's important here.
Yeah, I mean, Ace dying there would have been pretty disastrous. Didn't have buyback as well and could have led to this Rax being taken. Not too much Essence Shift yet on the Slack, but he's going back in.
Arrow, oh, what a vacuum pullback there from Forev. Nice play. A Shuriken to finish him off while in ethereal form. Cloud9, no buyback on the SS, so they don't have the damage necessary to get a Reaper Scythe kill in the first place. Ace, they've got the pullback, now a counter pull from Yapzor, grabs Hesta Joe, yanks him back in, Rise is dead, and that is it. Cloud9 will lose to Bears, be dropped down to the lower bracket of this playoffs.
Man, this Firo kid, you can see why this Bears team wanted to pick him up. I mean, he had some limited experience playing competitive Dota on some lesser known tier 3 NA teams and stuff, but he has had an amazing showing after amazing showing. Even games in the past where he's been shut down, he's come back this time around. He puts on a Slack clinic 16-0 and 8. That was a very dominant game from Bears. Cloud9 at no point felt like they were in this game.
Yeah, honestly, Bears, it did seem like the strategy this time around from Cloud9 was, I guess, a little bit more, it didn't have as much depth to it. You know, with the Lone Druid, when they make those kind of plays, they have this later game hero to be able to fall back on, and they